Declined. You wipe the chip on your jeans and push it back in. Declined again. The guy behind you shifts his weight. You hear his keys. You're doing math you already know the answer to. That heat in your chest, that quiet, cold feeling. You look up at the camera in the corner, thinking the bank sees you. It doesn't. You are not a person having a hard night. You are a number. And everything, every rate, every fee, every person who picks up when you call, flows from that number. There are 8 levels to this machine. At the bottom, they charge you $35 for the privilege of having nothing. At the top, the bank doesn't just work for you, it bends. This is how it works at every level. Level 1, the penalty phase. You wake up the next morning. First thing you do, before coffee, you open the app, minus $39, not $4. $39. The overdraft fee hit while you were sleeping, $35. You didn't sign anything. You didn't get a call. It just happened. You do the math, and the math is almost elegant in how wrong it is. If you had the money, they wouldn't charge you. But because you don't have the money, they take money you don't have. This isn't a glitch. Last year, banks collected over $7 billion in overdraft fees, not from hedge funds, not from people who forgot to rebalance their portfolio, $35 at a time, from people who were already out of air. You tell yourself it won't happen again. You set a low balance alert on the app, $5 threshold. You feel responsible, like you fixed something. You didn't fix anything. You just learned to survive inside a system that was never designed for you to win. Nothing is more expensive than being broke inside a system that charges you for it. Payday hits. You scrape together enough to clear the negative. You see $200 in checking and you breathe out. You think the worst is over, but you don't see it yet. The bank just moved you into a quieter trap, one that doesn't make a sound. Level 2, the subscription. You aren't overdrawn anymore. You have 200, maybe 400 before rent hits. You think you're finally a customer, then the 12th rolls around, and $12 just disappears from your account. No warning, no call, monthly maintenance fee. Because your average daily balance didn't hit $1,500. You are literally paying a subscription fee just to let them hold your money that they take and lend out to someone else at 24%, while paying you exactly 0.01% in return. You decide to be smart about it. You apply for a credit card, start building your FICO score. They come back with a secured card. You have to give them $500 of your own cash as collateral, just so they can lend your own money back to you at 26%. You tell yourself, at least I'm building credit. When you call support to ask about any of this, you don't get a human. You get a voice menu and 20 minutes of hold music that feels like it was designed to make you give up. 14 minutes in, you're still on hold. You start doing the math on whether it's even worth staying on the line. The issue you called about was $12. The time you've already spent is worth more than that. You know it. They know it. That's not a coincidence. That's a business model. You hang up. The $12 stays gone. And somewhere in a quarterly report, that counts as a resolved ticket. Nobody hates you at this level. That's almost worse. You're just not worth a human being's time yet. At this level, you don't have a bank. You have a subscription to financial indifference. You stay in this loop until the paycheck gets consistent, until direct deposit hits every 2 weeks without fail. And that's when something shifts. Not because you earned their respect, because the algorithm finally noticed you. Level 3, the revenue stream. You get a real job. $3,200 hits your account every other Friday, like clockwork. No human at the bank notices this. No one calls to congratulate you on getting your life together. But the algorithm notices. Your pattern shifted from irregular and risky to consistent and predictable, and almost overnight, the ecosystem around you changes. Those thick, glossy envelopes start showing up in your mailbox, pre-approved credit cards with actual limits, 3 grand, 5 grand. The $12 monthly fee quietly disappears because your direct deposit waives it automatically. You need to fix the transmission on your Toyota Camry. You apply for a $5,000 personal loan approved in 48 hours, 11% APR, not 24, 11. For the first time, you feel something that almost feels like respect. You think the bank finally sees you. They don't. Not the way you think. They looked at your direct deposit and ran the numbers. You make enough to service debt without collapsing. Your risk profile dropped. Their margin didn't. They're still paying you 0.01% on your savings, still lending your money out at rates that make someone a very comfortable end-of-year bonus. You aren't a valued partner. You are a highly functioning revenue stream. The bank didn't start caring about you. It started seeing revenue in you. Those are not the same thing. So you decide to beat them at their own game. You pay down the cards, build up the savings, $20,000 sitting and checking. You think that's just a bigger safety net, but you're about to discover something the bank already knows and never told you. 3 years passed. You didn't miss a payment. You didn't blow the savings on something stupid. You just kept going. It didn't feel like progress. It felt like treading water with slightly better form. But while you were doing that, a 3-digit number you can't see, can't touch, and never fully control quietly crossed a threshold. Your FICO score hit 740. The bank knew before you did. Level 4, the basis points. You keep your head down and play the long game. You don't buy the shiny new truck. You pay your balances in full every month. You don't think about it much. You just don't overspend. Then one random Tuesday morning, you're drinking your coffee. You open the app out of habit. Your credit limit didn't just increase. It jumped from 4,000 to 14,000. Overnight. No form, no request. The bank is giving you more credit, precisely because your track record proves you don't need it. You go to buy a car. They pull your FICO and hand you an auto loan at 6.8% instead of the 11% you would have paid 3 years ago on a $30,000 loan over 5 years. That difference is almost $2,300 that stay in your pocket, not because you got a raise, because your number changed. Think about what that actually means. 2 guys walk into the same dealership, same car, same day, same price on the window. One walks out paying 6.8%. The other pays 11. They never meet. They never compare notes. But over 5 years, one of them quietly kept $2,300 that the other one handed directly to the bank. Not because he worked harder, not because he negotiated better, because 3 years ago, he didn't miss a single payment. That's it. That's the whole edge. The system doesn't reward effort. It rewards the absence of mistakes. This is the math nobody explains to you at level 1. You don't just get richer by making more money. You get richer because the cost of money literally gets cheaper for you. Wealth doesn't just compound in the market. It compounds in basis points. You have 30, maybe 40 grand saved. The app is green. The cards are paid. You feel like you finally figured it out, but you're still just a number on a screen. You're still talking to algorithms until one day, a 6-figure wire transfer hits your account, and for the first time in your life, the machine puts on a human face. Level 5 and the retention target. You are getting ready to buy your first house. Your dad wires you 100 grand for the down payment. Just like that, your combined balance crosses $150,000. The very next morning, your phone rings. Not an automated alert, not a fraud notification. a real person. He calls you by your first name, tells you he's your new dedicated relationship manager. You didn't request this. You didn't apply for anything. The number crossed a threshold, and somewhere inside the bank, a flag went up. The experience shifts entirely. When you call now, no voice menu, no hold music. Someone with actual authority picks up on the second ring. You hang up, and for a second, you just sit there. This is what it feels like, you think. This is what it feels like to be taken seriously. You haven't built a relationship. You've crossed a dollar threshold. That guy on the phone, his job is strictly defensive. The bank isn't calling because they respect what you built. They're calling because they're terrified you might take that six-figure liquidity and walk across the street to Chase. His warmth is real. His concern for your financial future is also real, in a way, but it exists because losing you would show up in his quarterly numbers. You are not a priority. You are a retention target, but your net worth keeps climbing, and the bank starts to realize just holding your money isn't enough anymore. The suits get more expensive, the coffee gets better, and they invite you into a completely different room. Level 6. The access. Your portfolio crosses $500,000. You aren't standing in line at a local branch anymore. You are sitting in a glass-walled conference room, and a guy in a $2,000 suit slides an espresso across the table. Welcome to wealth management. For the first time, the bank isn't asking about your income. They're asking about your life, your kids, your retirement timeline, what you're ultimately trying to build. He leans forward, calls you by your first name again. He says things like, holistic financial picture. He says things like, alignment with your long-term vision. It sounds exactly right. It sounds like someone finally speaking your language. You answer every question. Your kids' ages, the house you want to own outright by 60, the business idea you've been sitting on for 2 years. And you notice something, but you can't quite name it yet. Every answer you give leads to a product. The kids become a college savings plan. The house becomes a refinancing conversation. The business idea becomes a line of credit pitch. He's good. He's genuinely good. But at the end of the meeting, he slides a proposal across the table. Managed portfolio, diversified, personalized, 1.2% annual fee. You nod. It sounds reasonable. You don't do the math until later, at home. Around 11 p.m., 1.2% on $500,000 is $6,000 a year, every year, whether the market goes up or down, whether he calls you back or not. Now you have to learn something fast. There is a difference between a real advisor and an expensive salesman in a good suit, and from the outside, they look identical. A lot of these guys aren't building you a bespoke financial strategy. They're quietly funneling your money into the bank's own mutual funds, shaving your returns with 1% expense ratios you never see itemized. They smile, they shake your hand, and they collect their fee, whether your portfolio goes up or down. At this level, the bank stops selling you products. It starts selling you access. Learn the difference before you sit down in that chair. You are officially an asset to the institution, but you are still playing by their rules, still dealing with limits and policies that exist for everyone below a certain number, until your net worth hits 5 million, and you realize the rules were never meant for everyone, they were just meant for the levels below. Level 7. The bend. You cross 5 million, and the public menu disappears. The mortgage rate on your new property isn't posted on any website. It's negotiated quietly, behind closed doors, just for you. You want access to a private equity fund with a $5 million minimum? The bank quietly waives the floor, just to keep you in the relationship. But the real shift at this level isn't the rates. It's how you use money itself. You need 10 million in cash to close on a property. You don't sell your stocks. Selling triggers capital gains, and taxes are for the lower levels. Instead, you pick up the phone and ask about your SBLOC, Securities-Backed Line of Credit. The bank hands you millions in cash, using your portfolio as collateral, at an interest rate so low it looks like a typo. Borrowed money isn't taxable income. Your assets keep compounding. The bank gets a virtually risk-free loan on their books. Everybody wins, except the guy at level 1, who is still paying $35 for being $4 short. At this level, the rules still exist. They just bend toward you by default. You have the leverage, you have the access, you have the bend, but there is still one level above this, a tier so exclusive, the bank stops being an institution entirely, it becomes something else. Level 8. The gravity. Forget everything you know about banking. At this level, the physics of money operate in reverse. Remember the gas station, the card, the $4. Now imagine you're on level 8, and a delayed wire leaves you $4 million short to close on a penthouse in Tribeca. Your private banker doesn't decline the transaction. He quietly bridges the gap using the bank's own capital. And when the algorithm automatically charges you interest for that massive shortfall, your banker manually deletes the fee as a courtesy. He bends the system to give you free money, just so you don't have to feel the minor inconvenience of a delay. You don't call an 800 number, you don't open an app. If you're opening a major offshore trust, the CEO of the bank, Jamie Dimon himself, gets on a private jet and flies to Louisiana just to shake your hand. And here is the part that should make your blood boil. Banks don't break the law for the ultra-wealthy. They don't have to. They simply use the billions they extracted from overdraft fees at the bottom to subsidize your luxurious, risk-free existence at the top. Every rule, every waiting period, every limit. Suddenly, completely negotiable. Your private banker manages fewer than 20 clients. Total. His entire career. His end-of-year bonus. His mortgage. His kids' school. All of it depends on one thing, making sure you never hear the word no. You are not a client anymore. You are the gravity that keeps the institution alive. Outro: the machine. You are standing back at the ATM, 11:43 p.m. The screen glows green in the dark. It doesn't matter if that screen shows minus $4 or 40 million. The nature of the machine never changes. At the absolute bottom, they feed on your mistakes. By the time you hit level 3, they farm the interest off your debt, cross into the millions, and they quietly siphon your wealth through fees you never see itemized. And at the very top, they use your assets as gravity to control the whole damn system. At no point, at absolutely no level, are you their equal. You spend your entire life trying to climb their ladder, thinking that one day the bank will finally respect you. They won't, because a machine doesn't respect its fuel. It just finds more efficient ways to consume it.